Thanks all. Thank you very much for turning up today. We're here today to talk to you a little bit about VIA. So the plan for today is to do a bit of a welcome and introductions, talk about what we do, the role of the recovery worker, what our pay and benefits look like, our values, which are very important to us, our efforts in DEI, what people say about us, and application process and tips. So we're hoping that this is covering the kind of things that you are after. So I'll start off by introducing myself. My name is Marina. I'm the Director of People here at VIA, so I look after the HR and L&D elements of the services. I've been here for about 3 years, really enjoying the work that we do. And I'm joined today by my colleague Tom, who I'll let him introduce himself.
Hi, I'm Tom Sackville. I'm one of 2 executive directors of services at VIA. We're a service delivery organisation, hence why there are 2 of us that do the same job, so we don't job share or anything like that. And I'm responsible, I guess, for us doing what we should be doing in our services and doing it as well as we possibly can. So really maximising the impact that we have for those who use our services and for the communities that we work in.
So I'll take us to the next slide, which is a little bit about what we do here at VIA.
To me, so we, as the slide says, we as an organisation, we've been around for 30 years now, working alongside people, their friends, and their families. Started as a small service in the Harrow Road. So we were, until about a year ago, we were known as WDP, or which was originally Westminster Drug Project. We outgrew that name because we're no longer substantively based in Westminster, although we do have a head office there. We certainly don't just work in relation to drugs, and we're certainly not a project anymore. So it was a name we'd long since outgrown. And if anyone's wondering, VIA doesn't stand for anything. The idea is that we're a place people pass through on the way to where they want to get to, recognizing that everyone's journey is different. Also, VIA doesn't matter which, unless a couple of our Italian colleagues are very hardcore about which one it is, and I can never remember which one they say it should be. So I'll probably flip between the 2 at various points in this presentation. So what do we do in our services? We work in communities across England. So that includes a number of services in London, but also outside of London. We've got a residential property in Essex. We've got service delivery in Surrey. We've got services in West Berkshire, in Cheshire West and Chester, and most recently in Gloucestershire. So we're very much a national organisation now. We deliver services to adults and young people. And those are both in what we call integrated services that provide all sorts of different forms of treatment and support to those who want to address drug and alcohol issues. Integrated services include clinical provision, as well as the psychosocial, so the work that we do. We use lots of jargon in this, so do pull me up if I'm using any. I'll try and pull myself up. But the sort of psychosocial intervention, so where we support people to try and understand why they behave the way they do, and to make changes that they want to make. Alongside that work, we have, as I say, clinical provision. So we have doctors and nurses employed in our service. We prescribe to people. So we'll prescribe substitute medication to support, for example, opiate users who want to stop using opiates, as a means to help them to achieve whatever goals they identify. Our young people services are a little bit different. As you imagine, work with young people is quite different. Their patterns of drug and alcohol use are quite different, and the way that we have to support them is quite different. So they are quite different and unique services, although they might often come under the same kind of integrated umbrella. We've got a core model that supports the provision of those services. So we have tools that we give to all our workers to adapt, whether that's groups or individual intervention. So there are tools to help anyone coming in new to our organisation. So we don't just say good luck and get on with it. In essence, there's a core model and training that supports anyone to do that. And we now have around 550 staff across our services, as well as over 70 volunteers that support us in the work that we do. So we're a growing organisation. The new Gloucestershire service that started on the 1st of April this year, I think, brought us 80 new staff in. We mobilised Kingston at the same time, which is about 20 more new staff. So we continue to grow. The other sort of type of service provision that we do that's not mentioned on there is the IPS program. That's an employability support program. It's a really exciting and different model. It works with people who are addressing issues with drugs and alcohol. The sort of change in terms of IPS is a model that we took that was taken from mental health, and it's not about saying we think you're ready. Do you want to go and find a job now? It's about when the service user tells us that they're ready. So if they think that getting into work would help them with their recovery, it's about helping them to find work when they say they're ready, rather than when professionals tell them that they're ready. So I think it's a really sort of interesting, exciting way of working, and quite different skills, because the workers in that service work with employers as well as service users. So we're really working across that divide in terms of employability. Alongside our community services, sorry, Marina, can you flick back for me? Thank you.
I went too
Alongside
quickly. Sorry, Tom.
You did, yeah. I was still going to go on about this for a minute or two longer. Alongside the community services I've talked about, we also have residential services. So we've got Passmore's House in Hollow, where we support people either in detox or rehab. So again, a really key part of that recovery journey for some people, done on a residential basis. And around November this year, we're going to be opening the Elms in Gloucestershire, which will be a women's only residential centre. So really important in terms of providing a safe space for women that aren't comfortable to engage in a mixed environment, but also innovation and partnerships that really matter within our services, that really make a difference to people's lives. So got the Capital Card, which is a contingency management program, supports people to gain points through all the interventions they do. Lovely story just come out of a meeting where we were talking about the Capital Card. It's a woman who'd been in recovery, who got tickets for Chelsea to attend a match at Chelsea. I won't make any comments about Chelsea in case there are any Chelsea fans here, but she talked about how good it made her feel to be able to take her daughter, and how it really helped them to reconnect after a very troubled time in their relationship, that she was able to earn points, use those to go to a match at Chelsea, and the difference that made to her relationship with her daughter. Got the Shannon Trust, who support people around literacy skills, identifying that many of our service users have challenges around literacy and the importance in addressing those skills. The Good Things Foundation, who provide support us with digital exclusion. So they provide laptops, phones, but also minutes, so that people can get online and engage online with all the different things that we're talking about here. And Clearwell, which is a clinic that we manage that provides ketamine assisted therapy. So quite different to our other services, that people are given very small doses of ketamine and then do engage with psychologists to support them in their recovery, using the sort of space that ketamine creates to engage. So all very done in a very safe way. So let's talk about the role of our recovery workers, and a little bit more of our delivery model. It'd be fair to say that recovery workers make up the majority of our workforce. So there are, in all of our services, we have lots of what we call recovery practitioners. And they are the frontline workers who are out there doing the one-to-one work and the group work sessions, using those psychosocial interventions that I talked about. They are the people that are really at the coalface in terms of the work we do. And I suppose in essence, what they do is they develop relationships that support people to achieve the changes that they want to make in their lives. So there's lots of stuff that you can learn, but I guess the ability to develop good, supportive, boundaried relationships is the thing that we're looking for in our recovery practitioners. There are lots of specialisms that those recovery practitioners have. So we have people who work on an outreach basis. They're out there in the communities. They're not waiting for people to come to them. They're going out and finding them and supporting them to engage. We have practitioners who support caseloads of female service users who want women only, in safe spaces. Criminal justice workers who support people who are going through the system, and dual diagnosis or coexisting conditions workers. And that's about moving away from an old model that said, oh, well, you got mental health problems, you got drug problems, sort that out first and then come to us. The idea now is that we have workers who can work across both of those needs. But it's also fair to say that that recovery practitioners are far from the only people in our organisation. We have all sorts of other specialist roles in our workforce. So we have doctors, nurses, pharmacists, psychologists, receptionists, admin workers. Those receptionists, you know, recovery, if I talk about recovery practitioners being the front line, the receptionist is the first person that somebody sees when they come through the door in our service, and make a huge difference in terms of whether people engage. It's also right to say that we have members of our workforce who have lots of members of our workforce who have lived experience, and that can be really valuable in supporting people's recovery, having people who've been through some of the issues they're addressing. But we also have lots of people who don't have lived experience. I don't have lived experience myself, and I wouldn't never pretend to, but I still think I can do a really important and good job in the organisation. So it's important to say that we have people that have come from both sides of that, and the important thing is an openness to whichever it is, and an understanding that your experiences aren't necessarily the experiences of those people that you support. I've said it already, but the expert infrastructure to support develop, because I haven't also talked about essential services. We have people in our people team. We have people who make sure people get paid on time. We have people who make sure we're paying our bills. We have people who make sure that we're running services to budget. We have people who provide the learning and development. So all sorts of other specialist roles. And what it's like being a recovery practitioner, no 2 days are the same. You come in probably most days expecting that you're going to do these 3 things, and you end up doing 3 other things. It can be hugely rewarding. It can be challenging. I'm really proud that I think we have really supportive environments that people work in, that people support each other to manage those challenges, and we have an infrastructure that supports people as well. But it can be tough work, but it can be massively rewarding as well. As it says there, this is all we want, to feel like we're not abandoned. This is service users talking, that we can be useful, to be functional in society. You guys make us feel like that. Something that was said to one of our recovery practitioners that I think sums up what you can kind of get from this kind of work, to show people that they aren't abandoned. There are people who care. Again, after more than a decade of working hard and playing hard in my spare time, my lifestyle finally caught up with me. I burnt out in spectacular fashion, descending into addiction, losing my job and my home in the process. Life became a matter of survival till I engaged with VIA and was gradually rebuilt from the ground up. And I think it's really interesting because the person who's doing the rebuilding is that person themselves. We're only there to support them, but your role as a frontline practitioner would be to provide that support, that stability, that person who cares, that person who listens, that person who's boundary, that person who does what they say they're going to do, to help somebody to rebuild from the ground up.
So thanks, Tom, for sharing your passion about the work we do and what it's like to be a recovery worker. I'm going to talk to us a wee bit now about other matters, so our pay and benefits and what it's like to work here. So the details of our benefits are obviously on our website, so I'd encourage you to go to go and look there, because there's loads of information on there. But wanted to let you know a little bit about some work that we did in 2021. So we worked with our teams to review our benefits. So we did a consultation wide across the organisation. We also looked across our own sector and beyond to get some ideas really about what was important to our people and people that wanted to come and work for us in terms of benefits, because we wanted those benefits to really demonstrate who we are and to reinforce our values. We're a very people-focused organisation, as Tom shared. We're all about people, so we wanted to make sure that the benefits package demonstrated those values. So we focused on diversity, recognising that every benefit doesn't suit everybody. So we've got different things that suit different people depending on what your age and stage in life. And we continue to review that offer within our team. So we didn't just do it in 2021. We did a big piece of work in 2021, but we review every year to make sure that they're up to date and they're what our people want. So I've shared here that the benefits were highly commended by the CIPD, which is the sort of HR governing body, back in 2022 after we launched. And then I just shared there one of our adverts, which we hope I think gives a bit of a flavour really of the kind of organisation that we are. So what are these benefits? So some of them I've just covered here, which obviously please do look at the website for more. But from day one, we offer 30 days annual leave plus bank holidays, which is a sector leading set of annual leave. We also recognise that we wanted to support people when they're not well enough to be at work. So after passing probation, you've got entitled to 6 months full pay and 6 months half pay in terms of sickness pay. So we thought that was quite a bold move, especially for a charity. But what we wanted to do was to recognise that we're here for a long journey together. So if you need to take time off sick, we'll support you. We will support you in that. We've also got extended family friendly provision, which you'd expect. But we're kind of proud of the work that we've done on that. We also have days off for special occasions, and you'll see from this advert here that folks can take their child's first day off at school rather than having to kind of negotiate around holiday time or negotiate around appointments, etc. We invite you to take the day off so you can kind of enjoy that day and deal with that day in whichever way you want to. Also, you have your birthday off. We give a day off for wedding or civil partnership. If you're moving house, you can have an extra day off. And also we give pet bereavement leave as well. In addition to that, we also give volunteering leave. So a lot of people will take time off to volunteer with other charities, or they might take time off to give blood or something like that. But we give specific leave to support people to work with other charities as well, because again, we're here for the long journey. So let's talk a wee bit about pay and progression. What we want to convey to you really is that pay isn't stagnant. There are 3 scales for recovery practitioners, which are dependent on qualifications and experience. So there's an entry point, a midpoint, and a top point. So most folks start on the entry point if they don't have experience and don't have the relevant qualification, which I'll talk to you a wee bit in a moment. So progress to the top point is dependent on you being able to demonstrate 2 years good frontline service. This can be with another employer, and also completion of the relevant qualification, which we will support you to do. But what we want you to know is that we're interested in skills and potential, your values and your behaviour. So we've got excellent training support for those that are new to the sector. So I talked to you a wee bit about our learning development, because I thought that might be helpful for you to understand what kind of training we offer you if you're new to sector, and how we support that. So after following 2021 consultation on pay and benefits, in 2022 we consulted with our staff and wider about the learning development offer. So again, this is all co-produced with our staff. We're very much a listening organisation. So when you start with the organisation, we'll enrol you onto the level 3 qualification. So it's an accredited level 3 with the Open College Network. There's no cost to you. We pay for all of that. And we also enable you to have up to 12 study days, so roughly a day off a month to study for that qualification. So there's 3 modules on that particular course, usually completed between 6 and 12 months. Some people are very quick, some people take a wee bit longer. And the units are around principles of tackling substance misuse, assessment, planning and care, and then brief interventions for substance misuse. But it's not just about that course. It's not, we don't just send you away just to do a course in your own time kind of thing, in your own space. We've also got a plethora of other training that we invite you to attend during those 6 months. Or during the first 6 months usually, and obviously there's training available all year round. But for people who are new, we make sure that there's plenty of shadowing and mentoring opportunities. The tackling substance misuse qualification itself is practical as well as academic. So, for example, you might have a manager sitting in with you to observe a session. Obviously, we'll make sure that you're okay to go into a session first, with somebody who uses our services. But you'll have sort of, shadowing and coaching and mentoring around those sessions, just to make sure you're completely comfortable, with what you're doing. We also have training by experts that don't belong to VIA. So, for example, Women's Aid supports in our domestic abuse training. So we bring in, sector experts where we think it's right. we deliver trauma-informed care as a training package, but it's pervasive really into all we do. Motivational interviewing is also kind of a core element of our training, which helps you to kind of interact with people who use our services. So we've got a blended learning approach. We've got loads of lovely e-learning as well, which everyone always loves. And we've got an award-winning learning management system, and we've got lots and lots of stuff on there as well, so that you can do those e-learnings when you want to. Because obviously face-to-face training is a commitment to attend, but the e-learning's there kind of all around. So I'm going to move on to talk about values now, and I'm going to hand back to Tom to talk a wee bit about our values.
So you can see the values over I'm not quite sure which shoulder it is, because I think it's a mirror image that you see of what I see. But we did quite a lot of work as an organisation. Again, very similar process to when we rebranded and when we did the work on our pay and rewards, really. To look at our values as an organisation, we consulted with our service users about what was important to them. We consulted with our staff about what they thought was important, and we also talked to both people who commission our services and people who don't commission them to understand, what they thought about us and what they thought was important in a service of our nature. We came up with 3 things really, and I suppose with all these things, they can be words or they can be reality, and it's really important that we make them into a reality. So the first of those is that we care, that people are at the heart of everything we do. We want to be the best for everyone we work with. And I think, for me, that we're a service delivery organisation. So everything that we do, whether it's in our finance team or whether it's a recovery practitioner, is about making sure that we have the best possible outcomes for anyone who enters any of our services. But at the same time, it's also about taking that value into the way we support and work with each other. So these values apply whether we're talking about the people who work for us or the people who work with us. And I think it's a really important thing to say. It's about being human, about being accessible, genuine, and humble, always learning. So, examples that everyone that joins the organisation is given a buddy from our senior leadership team, and they're there to support them to navigate their way around the organisation, to understand what we do, to ask any questions. So separate to any sort of line management processes. And I think that's a really good way to evidence that accessibility. But also recognizing that we can learn from them as much as they can learn from us. Finally, it's about doing the right thing. So about being open, honest, and inclusive, getting things done. Also recognizing we don't always know, as I said in the last one, that we don't always know the answers. So we'll go away and we'll find it out. But if we say we're going to do something for each other or for the people we support with, it's really important that we recognize, that we do what we say we're going to do, and we do the right thing by people. And I think that those things sum up my experience of the organisation. I hope any of you that might choose to come and work for us would say the same in a little while's time. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. I think it's also safe to say as well that what we've been doing since we've launched our values is that we've done another consultation piece with staff, with people who work with us, to define how those link to the behaviours that we want to see. So it's been a really good piece of work, done again, co-produced with people who are working with these values to determine what they are, which is grand. I'll just talk a little bit now about our efforts in diversity, equity, inclusion and belonging. We launched our sort of new DEI strategy in 2022. And I just wanted to really give you just a few examples. I'm not going to go through all of them, don't worry. But just a wee bit about how we've tried to bring our strategy to life. So we have various networks, diversity networks, that we have for staff, including men's health, neurodiversity. We've got menopause allyship, LGBTQIA+, etc. We've got all of these in place, which are run by staff for staff, and they're not run by the organisation. They are mobilised by people who have a passion and interest in those areas. We're investors in People Gold, We're a disability confident employer. You'll obviously know as well that we've signed the age pledge, which is one of the reasons why we're working here with you today. We are really wanting to embrace our diversity and make sure that our staff reflect the communities that we work in, and we're excited to continue that. We call VIA as a journey, but with all of this we recognise it needs to change and evolve with time as well. So we're interested in people coming with their own ideas as well. So a little bit about how to apply. So all our vacancies are on our website, so I really would encourage you to go onto our website. We also use things like Find a Job and specialist sites, to advertise our roles. We use Indeed and Glassdoor, so take a look at what our people say about us on there, because people are free to leave reviews on there, as you probably know. So please feel free to look. We work in regulated activity, so we have an application form because there's bits that we need to check off that we've covered with you. So we're not a CV and cover letter organisation. But don't worry, any application form is read and shortlisted by human beings. We don't use any AI tools to look at those applications. Most of our interviews happen on site, especially for frontline roles, because we want you to go in and see the service and see where you'll be working. The interviews usually consist of competency-based and values-based questions. It's very important. Our values are very important to us, and it's grand to be able to demonstrate that in the interview process. In terms of the competencies, as I said, we are open to people new to sector and who will come and work with us, and we'll come and train you up to be, to work with us, with our training, and the mentoring stuff that you'll get on site. So we're a ban the box employer. That means we don't ask about previous criminal convictions, etc. So we are open to working with people who have the right values and stuff for working with us now. But just to say that all roles are offered subject to our safeguarding checks, which includes a DBS check and those kind of things. But if there's anything that you're worried about regarding that, don't worry. You can talk to us about it, and we'll work through. So that takes us to the end of our presentation, Tom. I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to say on that before we hand over for questions.
I was only going to say, in terms of what you were saying about the ban the box, it's right that we do have to do DBS checks for our workforce, given the roles that we carry out. But we talk about people with lived experience. We know that many people with lived experience, like many of our service users, found themselves embroiled in the criminal justice system as a consequence. So we are very open to those conversations and accepting that there are people, who work within the organisation who want to work for us, who will have criminal records, and that's something we can work with you on and talk to you about.